Blockchain. You've heard the word a million times, right? It's always talked about as this massive, revolutionary technology. But for a lot of us, it still feels kind of complex, maybe a little mysterious. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and deconstruct the method behind the magic to show you how it actually works. Let's get into it.
You know, the famous science fiction author Arthur C. Clarke really hit the nail on the head with this one. Blockchain can totally seem like magic. But just like any good magic trick, once you understand the pieces, all the clever mechanics happening behind the scenes, it all starts to click. This isn't about smoke and mirrors, it's just some really solid, innovative engineering.
Okay, let's start with the official definition. At its absolute core, a blockchain is just a digital record book, a ledger. But it's a very, very special kind of ledger. It's got three key things going for it. It's tamper-evident, meaning it's almost impossible to secretly change anything. It's distributed, so it's shared among tons of people. And maybe most importantly, there's no single person or company in charge.
To really wrap our heads around this, let's use an analogy. Imagine we're creating a digital notebook that's basically unbreakable. We need a way to keep adding new pages, but we can't ever let anyone go back and secretly change what's on the old pages. This right here is the first big idea behind a blockchain.
So the first piece of our unbreakable notebook is the block. And you can just think of a block as a single page. But instead of just one little entry, it's a whole bundle of new information, like a list of financial transactions, that all get grouped together and added to our ledger at the same time.
Right. So a block is basically just a container. Inside of it, you've got all the records for a certain amount of time, a list of who sent what to whom. All these separate little transactions get gathered up and sealed together into one neat package before they get added to the notebook.
Okay, so how do we seal that package and make it super secure? The secret sauce here is a cool cryptographic tool called hashing. Hashing takes any amount of data, like that whole list of transactions in our block, and it runs it through a special algorithm to create a unique, fixed-length string of characters. You can think of it like a digital fingerprint. And the cool thing is, if you change even a single comma in the original data, that fingerprint changes completely.
And here is where it gets really genius. To connect all the pages of our digital notebook, each new block doesn't just hold its own data, it also includes the unique hash, that digital fingerprint, of the block that came directly before it.
And boom, that's how we get the name blockchain. Each block is cryptographically chained to the last one. So if someone tried to go back and mess with a transaction in an old block, its hash would change. That would snap the link to the next block, which would then break the link to the one after that. It's like a domino effect that the entire network would spot immediately. The tampering is just out there for everyone to see.
So we have this incredibly secure chain of records. That's awesome. But it actually creates a brand new problem. Remember, there's no central authority, no bank, no boss to say, yep, these records are the right ones. In a system where anyone can join in, how does everybody agree on what the actual truth is?
I mean, this is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? If I create a new block with a set of transactions, and you create a different one at the exact same time, whose block gets to be the next official link in the chain? Without some clear rules, the whole system would just fall into chaos.
And this is exactly what that chaos would look like. You'd end up with these things called forks, which are basically competing branches of the ledger. Some people would be following version A, other people would follow version B. And that single shared source of truth would be totally lost. The whole system would just become unreliable and pretty much worthless.
Well, the solution to this whole trust problem is actually pretty elegant and frankly, super competitive. Instead of just picking a leader, the network makes everybody compete for the right to add the next block. It's basically a giant global mathematical race.
This system is called proof of work, and to add the next block, these participants, we usually call them miners, they have to solve an incredibly difficult math puzzle. They're all racing to be the very first one to find a specific number that solves the puzzle for the block they're trying to add.
Now here's the crucial part. This puzzle is really hard to solve, but it's super easy for everyone else to check. It takes a massive amount of computational power. We're talking real-world electricity and processing time to find the answer. But once a miner has it, anyone else on the network can look at it and verify that it's correct in a split second.
This quote from the original Bitcoin white paper just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. In this decentralized world, your influence isn't based on who you are. It's based on how much computing power you're willing to throw at securing the network. The majority decision is just represented by the longest chain, the one with the most computational work poured into it.
And just to give you a sense of what this work actually looks like, here's an example. To solve just one pretty simple version of this puzzle, a computer had to make over 10 million guesses. That's insane. It's kind of like trying to find one specific grain of sand on a huge beach by just picking them up one by one.
Okay, so we've got a secure, decentralized ledger that everyone can agree on. Awesome. Now let's see how this actually builds the foundation for something like digital cash. How does the system keep track of who owns what?
You know how your bank account is really just a single number in their database? Well, Bitcoin works completely differently. It uses what's called the UTXO model. So instead of one balance, your wallet is actually a collection of all the digital change you've received from past transactions. It's way more like having a physical wallet with different bills and coins inside.
Let's just trace this example. So Bob has a single digital bill that's worth 10.2 units. He wants to send 5 of those to Alice. Now, he can't just tear his digital bill in half. Instead, his transaction spends the entire 10.2 unit piece, and it creates 2 new ones, one for 5 units that goes to Alice, and the leftover 5.1999 units that comes right back to him as change. And that tiny bit left over, that's the transaction fee for the miner who processed it all.
So that's the core mechanics, the nuts and bolts. But the promise of blockchain, it goes way beyond just digital cash. I mean, its properties of transparency and decentralization could be applied to all sorts of real-world problems. Let's look at one really good example. Think about the music industry. When you pay for your streaming subscription, your money goes through this complicated web of labels and publishers and all these other middlemen. And at the end of the day, the artist who actually made the music, they often get a tiny little piece of the pie.
And this is where a blockchain could really change the game. By using a shared, totally transparent ledger to track every single time a song is played, and using things called smart contracts to automatically pay everyone out, you could cut out a lot of those middlemen. This could give artists a much fairer and way more direct way to get paid for their work.
Now, we gotta be real here for a second. Like any new technology, blockchain has been through a massive hype cycle. This famous chart, the Gartner Hype Cycle, showed cryptocurrencies way back in 2015 at the absolute peak of inflated expectations. People thought it could solve everything, which of course was followed by a big crash into the trough of disillusionment when it didn't.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most important question. The technology is maturing now. It's moving past that initial crazy hype and toward a stage of real, actual productivity. So the question for all of us is to start thinking critically. Which problems are genuinely best solved by a decentralized, transparent, and unchangeable ledger? Where does this powerful tool truly create new possibilities?